Hey, I'm Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald. I wanted to just ask you in general, how you feel about the UM team this year, a little scouting report, and specifically, I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are on evaluating Keyshawn George and what do you think he's brought to the team? He's a freshman, but he's gotten a lot of attention lately. Thank you.
Michelle, thanks for the question. They're really good. I think they lead their league in scoring. Their ability to shoot the three is what really makes them really a dangerous basketball team. And because Amir is starting to make threes, they kind of shoot it from all five positions right now. But George is good. I have no idea where Jim found him, but he's a really good player. And once we started scouting him, as you hear about him earlier, I thought he was 6'4", 6'5", but now you look at him at 6'8" and what he's doing. And
He was actually 6'4", 6. He's growing like an inch every month, it seems like.
yeah, I mean, he's a good player. I mean, he is, he's playing, he's not playing like a freshman. I can tell you that now. And, he certainly has earned every, starting minute that he has and any opportunity that he plays. But he's a matchup problem because he can shoot the three, but he's long enough to put the ball on the floor and finish and doesn't need a lot of dribbles to get to the rim. So he completely adds value to their team.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Brett Friedlander. Go ahead, Brett.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing this morning?
Hey, Brett.
Is there one or two things specifically that you can put your finger on that has changed over the last three games with your team? And to that same point, that Wake Forest game was an extremely emotional game. How much, if any, did that take out of you guys?
Yeah, I just think we've had Brett, we've had a rough week, and we played two teams on the road who are actually, I looked this up today, they're 21-1 combined at home between UVA and Syracuse. And UVA, I don't think they've lost a game in 20, 21, 22 tries at home. So two completely different opponents. But when you look back at the Virginia Tech game, I thought we played really good basketball, similar to Wake Forest at the end, except for we let those two guards really get going late in the game. I just think, every team goes through a rough patch, during the year, and this is ours. And, I told someone today, if we won one, lost one, won one, lost one, it looked a little different. But when you lose two or three in a row, it smells different. It doesn't even feel good at all. And so it's kind of where we at. We're at still at 5-4. We, hopefully, we get a chance to, obviously we will be at home the next two or three games and try to get back on track. But I don't think I can point to one thing. I just think that, we've had a couple tough road trips, and, the one game, if we could get back, it would probably be Virginia Tech at home.
Thanks.
Yep. Thank you, Brett.
Noah Fleischman. Go ahead, sir.
Coach, it seems like, for the last couple of games, you guys have had extended periods where shots aren't falling. Has there been anything that, is the same cause, or is it kind of just, what other teams' defenses are able to do to kind of get your offense out of rhythm a little bit?
Well, I think if you look at Syracuse, I didn't think anybody played well. I didn't think no one on our team really played well at all. At UVA, I thought we started the game well enough. I think we were, the first 6 points, then we gave up offensive rebounds, and then we didn't play well in between the game. And in the second half, we were really good, and that allowed us to get into our presses. But I don't think it's anything that I can point to. I think we had one of those games at Syracuse where you hate as a coach because none of our shots fell, and we didn't have anybody that you could say, let's feed the hot hand until somebody else gets going, and it just didn't happen that way.
Corey Smith, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin. Wanted to ask you about the offensive side of the basketball. Obviously, this is been an issue for the last few games in terms of, as you just mentioned, those stretches. But looking at where the offense is right now, what, if anything, can you do, this late in the season to start turning things back around, particularly with the shooting woes that have been happening?
Yeah, it's weird, Corey, because if you pull up our stats, we've had great second halves, like 43 points and 48 points. And, I just think we have to, somehow get off to better starts. And this is a make or miss game, and if you're not making shots, it really struggles. It doubles for us because if you're not making shots, it doesn't allow us to set up the type of defense that we like to play. And obviously, so we haven't been able to create as much opportunities offensively off of our defense. I just think one of those things is that we got to stay the course, and hopefully being at home, getting a little home cooking will certainly help us a little bit. But I think we've had great second halves, but we've had some slow first halves where we started the game well, and we just never, we've had probably a 5 or 6 minutes where we struggled a little bit, and at that point we got to be a little bit more, I would say, in a more attack mode where we're driving the ball to the basket instead of settling for outside shots.
As a quick follow-up to that too, last year you guys were able to pick apart Miami underneath the basket, DJ Burns feeding it down low to, at the time, Ernest Ross, Greg Gant. Do you feel like you have the guys on this team that are able to do those types of things? Dennis Parker, Ben Middlebrooks, Mo Diarra being able to cut underneath there to kind of give DJ Burns some room to work from that 15-foot mark, as opposed to having to drive to the basket every time.
Yeah, I think it's Corey. I think it's going to come down to how they defend him. Last year they decided to trap him, and he was really efficient. We got guys to the dunker spot where they made shots and everything else, and DJ really, found a way to get the ball to those guys. I think a lot of it will come down to, we have to adjust the way they will defend him throughout the game.
Thank you.
But to answer your question, do I think, yeah, we've got guys. I think Mo can do that. I think certainly Ben can do that. I think we can be put in a situation, if that happens again, where we can score the ball.
Appreciate it.
James Henderson, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Kevin, it looks like you guys are still trying to figure out your rotation right now. Obviously, you've got a bunch of new pieces. Is that kind of the new norm now in college basketball? Maybe not for everybody, but just when you add so many pieces, it may take a little longer to kind of figure out who to roll with.
Well, I can see where that can seem that way. What happened in the Syracuse game, James, is because nobody was playing well.
Right.
We were searching, and we were trying to find somebody to give us some type of energy, off the bench that can do that. I think we really have, 6 or 7 dudes that are really constantly playing for us. And then being able to get that, eighth, ninth guy that can really come help, whether it's on the offensive, defensive end. But the second part of your question is very interesting because it is different. I said this with this group right here, because you have so many new pieces, this is the first time that this particular group has went through some adversity. And so you're going to have, it's different than when you got so many returners, what you're getting because some guys have been through some adversity together. Well, this is the first time this particular group with 8 new people have been through some adversity. So there are some growing pains as we go along with that.
And I joined late. I didn't know if anybody asked you. I wanted to ask you your thoughts on LJ's play against Syracuse.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I thought he came in and gave us energy. I didn't, like I said, I didn't think anybody played well, but if there was one bright spot, I thought LJ came in and gave us a lift towards the end. And, that's something we got to continue to look at when you go to the bench, you want to get somebody who comes in and gives you energy off the bench. And I thought against Syracuse, LJ did that.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, James.
Last question will come from Noah Fleischman. Go ahead, Noah.
You just mentioned, this new group and facing adversity for the first time together. How have you kind of seen them handle this last week, especially, with Casey, posting a video about, learning from adversity and be able to push through it?
Yeah, I think it's been a learning experience. Like I said, these guys have, this is the first time. Think about this now, so far, and we've been lucky. We hadn't lost. The only combination of losses that we had was, I think, at leaving Vegas with BYU, and then going to Ole Miss. Other than that, we've been able to stack games and everything else. I think it's a learning process. I think it's one of those things where we're learning to come together because obviously every team's going to go through some stretch where you're going to need some leadership. And when you got so many new people, you know, everybody's trying to figure out who can lead, and I think they're trying to figure that out right now. And we're trying to help them as a team also.